So over the past 12 months, I have purchased a whole bunch of new gear, partly because I'm moving more from photo into more video. I still do both. It's probably a 50-50 split now, but alongside trying to do more video comes more equipment. So I purchased a whole bunch of new gear, and what used to be one backpack of gear for all my jobs is now multiple backpacks, multiple cases, and a truck bed full of gear. So we're not going to run through all of that, but what we are going to do is kind of run through what's in my day-to-day backpack, my main cameras and lenses and microphones I use to service kind of my current clients. So without further ado, let's crack into it. Obviously the most important piece is the backpack. So the backpack I use, and I've used for a long time, is the Tenba Axis. This is the version 2. Amazing backpacks. I have the bigger version, which is the 32 liter, and this is the 24 maybe, slightly smaller. I prefer the slightly smaller one. I used to use the big one when I used everything in that, so I carried all of my gear in that. Now I use the slightly smaller one, and I have a Pelican case for my other stuff, so this serves me really well. The main features I like is the laptop carry at the front. My previous backpack had one at the back and I hated it. The laptop slamming against your back is not a nice feeling. So this being at the front, I think adds more protection and it's much more comfortable to wear. They have these really cool straps, so a little like a nylon Kevlar straps here. So you can hook as much anything on you want there. I put my tripod in here, slots through, really easy to carry. You've obviously got your like water bottle handle, and there's loads of compartments on the inside, which we'll get to. But yeah, highly recommend the Tenba Axis. If it breaks, I'll buy another one. They are by far the best in my opinion. So moving straight ahead to the first camera, this is going to be my Sony A1. Now this is my baby. I've had this for a long time now. And this for a while served as my sole video camera, but now it is my sole photography camera. Before it was my everything, but yeah, since I've got the Fx3, that's now the video cam, and this is predominantly used for my photography work, but it also serves as my gimbal camera and my B cam. Just because I don't want to de-rig my Fx3, this can just be slapped on the gimbal really easily. Specs on the Sony A1, you've got your 50 megapixel camera, can shoot in 30 frames per second, can shoot 4K 120. It's basically the ultimate hybrid Sony camera. So if you do want a camera that can do everything, can't go wrong with the Sony A1. It is very pricey though. I got it secondhand for a good price. Would I recommend buying it full price, brand new? If you're wanting it for video, probably not. Get the Fx3 plus a bunch of accessories. You'd really only buy this if you want it for the photography as well. If you need the high megapixels and you need the high frame rate, get the A1. Otherwise, it's probably a bit of a waste of money. But do I regret buying it? No. It has served me so well and I'm not going to sell it. It's going to be my B cam for a long time, I believe. So yeah, this stays in my bag at all times for the photography. And then the A cam, which is just behind me, which is the new baby, which is my Sony Fx3. So I recently picked this up along with all of the rigging for it. I won't run through every bit of the rig, that'll be a separate video. But basically we've got the Sony Fx3 with a tilter cage. The matte box we're using is the Mirage matte box. Now, what I really like about this matte box is you can pop in your filters. So you can have your ND filters directly in your matte box. Saves you trying to screw on into your straight into your lens. This here can just go straight into your matte box, easy as. And what you can also do is link it up with the nucleus. You can actually wirelessly control the ND, which is really, really handy. We're going to get into the lenses soon, but basically my 24-70 stays on here pretty much at all times. The microphone, Sennheiser MKE 600. This is what I use for pretty much all of my jobs, unless I'm putting a lav mic on. If it's a sit down interview, I'm pretty much always gonna use the MKE and boom it. May use a lav as a backup audio, but booming to me is just the best quality audio you can get, so why not do it? The monitor, the Atomos Shinobi. So I've used a few monitors in my time. I really like the Atomos Shinobi. The UI is really nice, the quality is really good. The 5-inch screen is the perfect size for me, not too big, not too small. Overall, really recommend the Atomos monitors. And how I power it is, they have the, what is it called? The Atom X, I believe. So it's kind of like a dummy battery with an AC or a DC port. So you pop this on there, DC port goes out and then into your D-tap, so straight into your V-mount battery, and that will power your monitor without having the big bulky monitor battery on there. So really handy. That leads me into the V-mount. So the V-mount I use and have used for a long time is the SmallRig 99 watt-hour battery. Now this, you can get bigger ones. You can get up to 212 now, I believe, with the SmallRig, but the 99 serves me fine. It'll last me a whole day, so unless I'm going multi-day with no power, which is never, I probably don't need more than this. Now it would be nice to have a backup, I will say, and I'll probably get one at some point, but for now, 99 watt-hour is, yeah, serves me well. No need to upgrade, so why fix what's not broke, right? So I will, like I said, I'll do a full video breakdown on this rig. I'm just waiting on a few more things, but that's the gist of it. And yeah, this is my main video cam. Comes with me to all my video jobs. The only thing it doesn't do for video is gimbal, just because I don't want to de-rig it, and I just use the A1 on the gimbal. So this is what I use for my freehand stuff, on sticks, documentary style stuff, run and gun stuff, you name it, the Fx3 will be there. So yeah, that's the video rig. Now next up, let's kind of take a bit of a deep dive into the backpack. So first up we have the, what is it called? PGY Tech SD card holder. So picked this up about a year ago. Super clutch. So you've got 3 CF Express card slots and 3 of your standard SD card slots. You get a little iPhone thing. I haven't used that once, but handy for some, I think. You get your micro SD card slots as well, and it also doubles as a SD card reader. So this here pops out, and you can use it as your SD card reader, Type A, or sorry, CF Express and SD. So really handy. Saves me bringing an SD card reader and a memory card holder. It's kind of an all-in-one. Saves space and also protects your stuff pretty well. So highly recommend this for anyone out there. Next up we have the audio. So we have the MKE 600, which is behind me that we ran through. And for the wireless mics, I have the Wireless Mic Pro by Rode. Now, obviously they're not in here because that's what I'm using right now for this audio. Now you can't see it because I've actually got my other shotgun mic plugged into the Wireless Pro, which is something you can do, and then the other receiver on the camera. So it's kind of just saves you having this on there, and you can wirelessly shotgun mic, which is really handy. But obviously this is what they look like. And this comes your 2 transmitters and your 1 receiver, all in this little case that also charges. So really handy. I used to have the wireless ME ones. I still have them as my backup. But yeah, these are my main wireless microphones. And yeah, can't go wrong. Highly recommend. They're pretty well known at this point, but yeah, super clutch. Next up, my favorite piece of equipment I own, my Magic Arm. So this here, for the sake of 40 bucks, whatever it was, can't quite remember, this gives you so many options. You can literally clamp it to anything you want. I can come here, I can clamp this down, and I could have my mic right here. I could mount it up there, mount my camera, get an interesting angle. The kind of possibilities are endless, even on my camera rig sometimes. So I'll use this 3/4 screw, pop it into my cage, and I'll just have it hold my microphone this microphone here, because sometimes when I'm walking around run and gun, I don't want to carry this, so I'll just clamp this in there, clamp this to my cage, and then when I need it, it's kind of just ready to go. So yeah, so many options, highly recommend. This is the Small Rig Magic Arm, and then this is the Small Rig, I don't know the specific name, but if you just look up clamp, Small Rig clamp, I'm sure you'll be able to find this one, and it just screws straight on. So highly recommend. Now I guess while this is out, we'll talk about this. This is what I use for all my interviews. My biggest gripe with content on Instagram is when people hold the little square mic. Please don't do that. Don't be that guy. I guess if you're trying to be trendy, it's cool, but I think this just looks way better for events, especially sporting events. Just looks professional. So your mic just slips in there, super easy, over the top, good to go. So yeah, really recommend those if you do the run and gun interviews. They come in super handy. Now next up, if you're doing video, you will definitely need some of these, which are the ND filters, or filters in general. I use pretty much solely Nisi, so Nisi filters. I've used them for the longest time. I've used multiple different brands, and I've found Nisi to be the best ones in terms of color cast. So there's virtually zero color cast on them. You can't even tell they're on. There's actually one on this camera right now. And yeah, super clear. No warm or cold cast going on. Really nice. I can get this out. So this is the Nisi 1 to 5 stop. So it's not the most dense filter. You only get 5 stops, but for me 5 stops is enough. I don't really feel like I ever need more than 5 stops for video. If I'm going more than 5 stops, I should probably just drop down to the next base ISO, to be honest. So yeah, this is the Nisi 1 to 5 stop. True color is what it's called. And they actually have a system where you can screw this onto your lens and you can pop on other ones. So if you want to add a polarizer to the edge or a mist filter to the end, you can just pop those on the end and you can double up your filters. Or you could buy a second 1 to 5 stop, or actually it's the 5 to 9, I think. Pop that on there and you can double up your NDs and get up to 9 stops of light. So yeah, super versatile and really good quality. So can't go wrong with the Nisi. And then they also sell this cool little pouch that you can hold all your filters in. So really recommend these. Now I also carry around a GoPro too. So this is the GoPro Hero 12. Now I probably don't use this as much as I should, but it's really handy to have in the bag in case I do need it. It's really good. To be honest, I use it mainly for my POV stuff. So I'll put it on my chest or I'll put it on the rig to get POV stuff for myself. But it is really handy for underwater stuff. So I've used it quite a lot in the ocean and in the water shots. But yeah, I should actually use it more. But yeah, if you don't have one, it's still a really good purchase to make, just because it allows you to get into places and shots you probably wouldn't be able to get, and it's really easy. So I'll quite often pair this with the clamp. So I'll screw the clamp in here, and then I can clamp it to anything. The most recent one I did was a shopping trolley. So I clamped this down by the wheel, and just got a cool perspective of the trolley wheel. And I didn't have to worry about it flying off and breaking my big camera, because it's so light, it just clamps on really easily. So yeah, that's the GoPro. Now another camera I didn't mention was the one that I'm filming on right now, which is the Sony A7C II. This is my kind of everyday personal camera. So I use it for my YouTube videos. I use it when I go on little photo walks or just throw it in the bag. It's really light, really good quality. It replaced my A7 IV, and I'm really happy I did, because this is much nicer as an everyday camera. The A7 IV was just a bit big for what I was trying to use it for. So yeah, if you are in the market for like a nice light but still professional camera, A7C II is really nice. I still need to do a dedicated video, but I haven't had enough use with it yet to really give a good review. So in a few more weeks, once I've used it some more, I will give you guys a nice honest review. But yeah, that's the third camera. So technically I've got 4 cameras if you include the GoPro. But yeah, Sony A1, Sony Fx3 and the Sony A7C2. Now let's crack into the lenses. So for the lenses, I have a few kind of go-tos. First one is the 24-70, which you saw that's rigged up back there with my Fx3. It's probably on my most used lens, I'd say. I use that for most video jobs. Next up, for the zoom lenses, we have the 16-35. This is the Sony G Master 16-35. And I brought this actually for real estate, because I do a lot of real estate work. The 16-35, if you shoot real estate, you know, is kind of the goat of real estate. The G Master is probably a bit overkill for real estate, because I'm always shooting at f7.1 anyway. But it comes in really handy for video work, because before I was using my A7 IV, which when you shoot 4K 50 frames, it crops in. So this was really, really nice. Now I don't really use it for video much, because I have the full frame on the Fx3 and the A1, but still super nice to have anytime you can afford G Master. I think it's always a good purchase. And then the filter on here is the Pro Nano CPL by Nisi, true color again. And this basically stays on here at all times, because like I said, it's mainly for my real estate. So the CPL is pretty much necessary for that. So that there is the 16-35. Next one, we have the 70-200. So the big dog. This is my most expensive lens, and also the longest reach lens I have. I would love to get a 200-600, but for now, the 70-200 serves me pretty well. And I also have a 2x converter, so I can make that a 140-400 if I want to. Now, this is kind of a niche lens, I'd say. I actually don't use it all that often. I use it for whenever I shoot sports, which I guess is quite often, but in terms of day-to-day use, for photography, I use it loads. For video, very rarely. I very rarely use this for video. So it's really my sports photography lens is what this one's for. And then prime lenses, we have three. One is being used right now, which is the Sony 20mm 1.8. Kind of a relatively new purchase, that one, but I've been using it for everything. Again, haven't used it long enough to get a good honest review, but so far love it. 20mm focal range is just so nice. I have a 16mm as well, actually, so just another lens I have. And I used to do my YouTube stuff on this, but it's just a little bit too wide. And then I didn't want to go 24 2.8, so the 20mm 1.8 is just such a nice, wide enough to capture it all, but not too wide that it starts distorting. So what we have, 20mm. We also have the 16mm Viltrox, super underrated lens, super sharp, probably one of the sharper lenses I have. You have autofocus, manual focus, clickable setting, you've got customizable buttons, you've got a clickable aperture ring, and all for like $1,000, I think. So yeah, super nice lens. If you're wanting a wide prime lens for a good price, cannot go wrong with the 16mm Viltrox. Now, my most used lens would be the 1.8 35mm by Sony. It's quite funny, this is also my cheapest lens, but my most used lens. I got this very early on in my career, and yeah, just have never stopped using it. It's super sharp. The focusing on it is really nice for video. It's really small and compact, like this can just go in my pocket. The only gripe I have is that the filter size is quite small, 55mm. So it is a bit funny trying to use like a 55-82 step-up ring. It looks a bit silly, but in terms of the quality of the lens itself, cannot go wrong with this one. Now, the last lens, probably my least used lens, which is my 85mm Sony. By no means is it a bad lens. 85 is super nice. Whenever I have to take headshots or portraits or anything in that sense, the 85 is my go-to. Super nice depth of field. 1.8 85 just looks really nice. But yeah, it's just not, I just don't really find myself going to it too often. Probably because I don't shoot many portraits or headshots. It's just not really part of my day-to-day work, but it is still super nice to have in the bag for any athlete headshots I need to do, or yeah, anything really. So I won't be selling it. I'll still keep a hold of it. It's still good to have, but yeah, probably my least used lens there. So yeah, those are the lenses, and I keep them all in this white Pelican. Well, it's not actually a Pelican, it's a knockoff of a Pelican, but it cost me $100 and it does exactly the same as a Pelican, and to be honest, I think it looks better than a Pelican. So I've actually got two of them, but yeah, this one is dedicated to my lenses, so none of the lenses go in my backpack, they all just go inside here. So the last few things that are essential to my day-to-day use are just these few little things that I use every day, but you kind of might not think about them when you think about a backpack of gear. First one's going to be your small rig multi-tool. This has every possible screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, Allen key you would need for any small rig product. So I use this every single day. If I need to de-rig my Fx3, if I need to put on base plates, whatever it is, that comes in super handy. Next we have our little rocket blower. You've probably seen one of these before, but again, if you ever get any shit on your lens, anything on your sensor, you definitely don't want to just blow on it. You want to use a rocket blower, so highly recommend one of these. Next up is, now I don't use this every day, but it does stay in my backpack at all times, and that's just this little small rig kind of screw pack you can buy. Now I've added to this over time, but basically I think it costs $20 and you get a bunch of different screws for small rig components, and I've used more than I can count. I'm always losing bloody screws or just needing extra ones to mount new things on, so this is really handy just to have all your screws in one place. Would highly recommend grabbing one of these if you have a rigged up camera. And next we have a microfiber cloth. So this, again, it's not the most glamorous of things to talk about in a video like this, but I think I'd be doing you dirty if I didn't, because I use this, again, it just stays in my pocket while I'm shooting. Every time I change lenses or whatever, I just give the lens a quick wipe. You're always accidentally touching the glass, or I don't know, anything gets on your lens, one of these. Do not use your t-shirt, never ends well. Make sure you use a nice microfiber cloth. Now lastly, now this doesn't stay in my backpack, but it does come with me to pretty much all of my shoots. It normally just stays in the truck, and that's my DJI Ronin Rs3 Pro. I recently got these handles as well, which has been really nice, but the majority of my work with this is real estate. So pretty much obviously all of my real estate work I would do with this gimbal. I'm using it less and less for the sports. I'm really liking the handheld stuff at the moment, but obviously, yeah, for all my real estate work I still use this almost every day, so can't go wrong. Now it's a little bit older now. I think they're up to the RS5, so a little bit outdated, but for me it still works fine. And yeah, don't change what's not broken, right? So I'll be holding on this for a wee while longer. Now lastly, we're going to just quickly run through the drone that I use. Again, this doesn't stay in my backpack, but it is something that comes with me everywhere. So I use the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Now this will probably be the next thing I substitute out. I would like to get a bigger drone. The windy days just don't serve this little guy too well, but if there's no wind, the DJI Minis are amazing cameras. I have the RC controller. It came with a package with it, so I don't need to use my phone. I can use this controller. Have the 3 batteries as well, and then what I would highly recommend which not many people buy, but I think everyone who has a drone should have one, especially if you're doing video, is ND filters. So just like your camera, if you want nice cinematic drone footage, you're gonna need to get some ND filters. If you've ever tried filming on a really bright day and you take it back and the footage is real choppy, it's because your shutter speed is probably 1/4000, and you're never going to get nice looking footage with that. So highly recommend a pack of ND filters if you are going to be doing video with your drone. And I just keep this all in a little PGY Tech case, which is super handy to bring around with me. Now next up is the tripods that I use. Now I have a couple different tripods. This is my photography tripod. So this is the one I use for real estate work, photo work. This is what I put my B cam on for when I do video work. It's just really lightweight, nice and portable. Not the most sturdy tripod in the world, but if it's just a single camera or a really light camera, it's perfect. And if you're going to be moving it around a lot for real estate, something like this is really, really good. So this is the Sony Traveler 7A. Again, I've had this for a long time, serves its purpose well, and it also splits off into a monopod if you need that as well. So overall, pretty good. Can't really go too wrong with a photography tripod. Now my current video tripod is the small Rig Freeblazer. If you do have a big camera, a heavy camera, anything rigged out, you're going to want to invest in a good tripod. For the longest time I was just using my photo one, and it's just a nightmare. A, trying to balance it. B, because it's so heavy, I was always scared it was going to fall off. This just comes with so many good features for video. It has a panning feature, so it comes with a handle and you can pan it. Really easy to make micro adjustments to get the level right. Arca Swiss type on the top. Now this one does have carbon fiber legs, so it is relatively light. Comes with a big bag as well. Really easy to cart around, and it comes in at a really good price. A lot of these video tripods are quite expensive. You'll spend thousands of dollars, but the small Rig Freeblazer comes in under $1,000, I think, from memory. So definitely a really cost-effective way. Now I would love to invest in a bigger and better tripod, but for now I just think my money can be spent elsewhere and serve me better purposes. So for now this does the trick, and I think for most of you guys, if you're getting into it, something like this small Rig Freeblazer is a really good option for you. So yeah, that is pretty much all of my gear that I use. Now there are other little things that I didn't show you in my backpack and kind of in my truck and scattered around, but in terms of the main equipment I use on a day-to-day basis, that is all of it. So yeah, hope you guys like this video. I'll probably do some more in-depth videos on more specific things, like I'll do one on my Fx3, I'll do one on the A1, and kind of break that down a bit further. But in terms of an overall look at my gear, that's it. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you'd like to see more of, whether you'd like some more in-depth videos on equipment, or whether you'd like some tutorials on editing or some POV stuff out in the field. I'm really open to all, so yeah, let me know. Otherwise, get out there, keep shooting, and we'll see you next time.